10 years, 15 years down the road, that's what these assets are for. You're going to be fine.
Yeah. So Mike, what was your first strategy?
Well, it was wholesaling.
Okay.
Because I didn't know anything. I was broke and didn't know nothing, and I wanted to quit my job and I wanted something better out of life. You know, when you're sitting at your job and you're sitting there and you're like, I know I deserve better, or, you know, my family deserves better. I want better. You know, it was just like, what do you do? Right. So me, it was wholesaling. And that's what I found. That gentleman, Tyrone Taylor, he had 100 free videos on wholesaling on YouTube, which was unheard of at that time. There was no ChatGPT. There was Google and stuff like that, but there wasn't this unlimited source of information. You had to pay for the information. You had to pay $5,000 for the wholesale course, $10,000. Even though they're still out there, but you can figure it out now without that. But he was the only person doing that, so I watched all the videos and applied them.
Would you do everything the same way all over, or would you pick a different strategy?
Great question. It's one of those things, like, I don't regret nothing, you know, because it made me who I am today, right? So it's like being a wholesaler, that showed me how to think and be creative in so many different ways. Like, in order to be a good wholesaler, you got to understand a fix and flipper. You got to understand a wholesaler, or a landlord, and all these different landlord strategies and these flip strategies. So it made me a better investor. It made me more well-rounded. So I can't beat that. But at the end of the day, not everybody wants to do that or be that person. Because especially there's more people that, what happens here is people come and say, hey, I want to wholesale. It's a little money risk to make a chunk of money. I'm gonna take that chunk of money and start flipping houses and make bigger chunks of money. And after I make those bigger chunks of money, I'm gonna buy my rental property. That could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years later. You might get your butt kicked up and down the street, and then you might quit, right? For all I know. So, but in today's day here at AZREIA, if you sit down with us, we can show you how to buy a rental property in 30 days, right? Or just by looking at your, because you just don't know what you don't know. Because like we said, with that, the house hacking, the BRRRR, depending on your job and your credit, like there's investment loans, there's the DSCR loans, which Andrew Augustiniak is great at. You have access to HELOCs. Like, we just have to sit down and say, what are your resources and where are you at? And I guarantee at some level we can show you how to get into your first rental property within the next 3 to 6 months. So why go through all those bumps and bruises and learning 2 different strategies when all you wanted to do was a rental property?
Right. That self-assessment is,
so
is
I would
key, right? Because not only the self-assessment to know where you're going, but the self-assessment to show you what you need to do in order to get there, right? Because you may have the tools already.
Yeah,
you may have, you may, with the appreciation in the market, you may have a house that you could do a HELOC on, and you have $150,000 to buy your first one, get started. So, and
then you're like, the next question, because we know, is, okay, I just spent my 20, 30, 40, 100 grand on my down payment. How do I buy more? Well, that's what we'll show you how to raise money. That's when Marcus mentioned all those creative strategies. That's where the education comes in to continue doing this. And you're not done after that first deal.